Well, Russian steel and mining group Mechel is also riding the commodities boom. It's just reported a 70% rise in sales for 2010. Net income jumped almost ninefold. How about that? The group said rising prices left it particularly optimistic about its mining operations. And that's significant because it's considering a share sale for the unit perhaps as early as the second half of this year. Morgan Stanley has valued the potential IPO at more than $15 billion. The company says it's looking at all opportunities to expand globally and further cash in on soaring demand. It says this could potentially include an approach for coal group Raspadskaya. Okay, so Stanislav Ploschenko is Mechel's chief financial officer. He joins me now from Moscow. So let's discuss this with him. Thanks so much for speaking to us, Stanislav. So coal producers, including your company, normally agree quarterly contracts with steelmakers from April. Can you tell me what increase of coal export prices you were able to negotiate for the second quarter?
We've already concluded the coal contracts for the second quarter at the level which is comparable to the benchmark set by the Australian producers, which is in the range of $320 FOB.
What's the price hike being driven by?
The price hike is driven by the, well, there are fundamental factors saying that global mining industry is more inert and more capital intensive than the metallurgical industry, and we see that the gap between the demand and supply for good quality coking coal will be widening, and obviously that's exacerbated by unexpected events like floods in Australia or mine explosions and collapses, unfortunately, from time to time.
In terms of geographical distribution of demand, you're seeing a lot of demand coming from China, presumably?
We see a lot of demand coming from China, although we ship most of our coking coal not only to the Chinese market but also to Japan and South Korea, but we potentially see a lot of demand coming from countries like India and South America.
Speaking of Japan, do you expect to see something of a boost in demand as that country starts the rebuilding reconstruction effort after the earthquake?
Obviously, we count with potential increase in demand for steel and consequently for coking coal, but take into account that Japanese steelmakers were working above 90 or maybe even 95% capacity prior to the earthquake. We do not expect that this hike in possible demand in the future will be significant.
Okay. Now, Mechel posted some pretty impressive 2010 results yesterday, but most of your profit is coming from the mining segment, isn't it? You've got other segments, including steel, which have lower profit margins. So with that in mind, can you tell me about the planned share sale of the mining division and an IPO that would, I guess, give investors exposure to that profitable side of the business?
We announced our plans to list Mechel Mining as any other of our divisions in the future, but these plans depend on the interesting projects for Mechel Mining in particular. Therefore, we are getting ready for that event, but the timing of the mining IPO is not defined yet.
It's not defined, but potentially is this year more likely than next year?
The likelihood of this IPO happening this year and next year are more or less the same.
You said the Mechel Mining IPO would make sense for financing inorganic growth. I guess that would mean you see some pretty good M&A opportunities out there.
We're always looking at M&A. M&A for us just an alternative instrument to internal capex to expand our business, and take into account that Mechel Mining is already a global coking coal and metallurgical coal mining company. We're looking at different opportunities around the globe, not necessarily in any particular country.
Possible stake in Raspadskaya?
Raspadskaya, as a fine coking coal producing company, is falling on our radar screen, obviously, but we're looking at this asset using the same criteria as we would use for any potential M&A opportunity anywhere.
Assets in Brazil?
Brazil is very rich in iron ore. We are mining some iron ore in Russia, although that's, the volumes of that business are incomparable to our metallurgical coal. Therefore, Brazil can potentially be interested for expansion of our iron ore reserves, but I wouldn't say that's very hot on our agenda right now.
Stanislav Ploschenko, Chief Finance Officer of Mechel, great to talk to you.